Council is weighing its options when it comes to medical marijuana. A proposed bylaw to regulate such operations within the city was presented last night, but the rules were not stringent enough for Council.
When the federal government introduced new regulations for commercial medicinal marijuana grow operations, it fell to municipalities to regulate. It means right now, anyone with a license from Health Canada and a piece of farmland could set up such an operation unbeknownst to anyone.
So the challenge of having a permitted use like this through a bylaw, you could set this up and it would never come before council, and your neighbors would not be notified, and so the public would not be aware. And I guess for security purposes that might be okay, except if you were a bordering neighbor, you might wonder what your city was doing about that.
It's left civic governments scrambling to put regulations in place. The city drew up a proposed bylaw for council's consideration. It set out parameters for permitting medical marijuana operations. It had to be located in the agricultural land reserve, be a minimum of 15 hectares in size, with specified setbacks from other properties.
The one concern I have around it is that it doesn't require a public hearing. It just said that if you meet these criteria, you can put it there. And I think when we're looking at the impact to neighbors, to the surrounding community, that there should be a public hearing so people know what is going into their neighborhood. And there's an opportunity for people to have that discussion at the council table.
The regional district recently put through a bylaw that would allow medical marijuana grow operations, but under very strict restrictions. Cameron Stoltz has issues with saying no.
One of the challenges we have is that we can't just regulate out a particular use because we don't like it. We can't say we don't like that particular use and we just aren't going to allow it inside of our city, because then we're subject to a challenge legally, and we don't want to go through that. So let's say, okay, we can include this, and how do we include that so that everybody's engaged and there's a good discussion around the table around it.
Staff looked at 10 different BC municipalities and the stances they've taken toward large-scale medical marijuana operations within the boundaries. Some have opted to say no altogether.
There are other municipalities who have said no, and Chilliwack is a perfect example, that it's expressly forbidden throughout their zoning. And that ensures that anybody who wishes to come with this type of an enterprise must apply for a rezoning, and that's how you get in front of council and have a public process. That's the one I'm looking for. I'm totally supportive of that example.
Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.